Welcome to Pages and Pods. I thought I would wrap up last year with a short podcast just off the cuff about where I've been and where I hope to go. If you followed this podcast series, you'll know that I've investigated the works of Rudolf Steiner, spent a lot of time on elementals, mostly because I have an orchard. I have an acre. I'm sitting here now at my meditation spot. I'll try to. There he is. Okay, this is where I go when I want to be calm. Um, so, elementals have drawn me towards them here. I don't see them as like actual little gnomes and elves and sylphs and salamanders and undines, uh, but I do feel a sense of spirit that comes from them and kind of guides me in this garden, perhaps even guards me from the various problems that I might be encountering. It's brought me into Neoplatonism, Plotinus, Proclus, Iamblichus, the Chaldean mysteries, and how we can relate theurgically to the divine, as in the emanating light from the One, which then, of course, brings you into Kabbalah, because in the mystical Kabbalah, we find that we are beams of light within a greater light, or like a single spark within the sun. And that then took me into the work called the Tanya by Rabbi Shneur Salman of Laiti, which is a fascinating read. To find out more, I turned to my rabbi and his wife, the Rebbitzin, and they've given me a lot of insight from a purely Orthodox Jewish standpoint. But I know there's got to be more linkages, more connections between thousands of years of thought to discover. Which also then took me to thoughtforms and egregores, which, by the way, are the most popular podcasts in my series. But we have to look at what they really are. It's like when you look at the sylphs and the gnomes and the undines and the salamanders. These are like a spirit, an entity within a greater entity, part of the whole emanation. So when we look at thought forms and egregores, these are manifestations of human thought. I believe that's what it really comes down to. And so they are as real as we project them to be real, which can actually make them, in some cases, devastating and harmful, and in other cases, perhaps really bright and cheery. It depends on how we project that will into that greater emanation of which you're a spark, I'm a spark. We're just part of it all. And so going forward, I see this year continuing on with this series I've started on biblical Joseph. Now, I don't think a lot of people are really interested in it, but I'm interested in it. And part of this podcast, I don't want to say isn't about all of you, but it's like my personal homework assignment to really go into what it is that draws me, this research. And then your feedback, because I do get comments and they direct me into whether or not I'm on track or maybe just completely lost. So I'm starting with this idea of biblical Joseph. And through Joseph, I will begin to learn the cosmology of the priests of Heliopolis, the sun priests of Ra, because they have a certain concept of divinity that is never shown in the movies. These aren't the freaky old priests that are in the pyramids and the mummies going to all eat us all. These are highly spiritual individuals, oddly enough, seeking a Kabbalistic oneness with the rays of the sun god. I didn't know that till I started reading a work by a guy named R.A. Schwaller. He's passed, but his works are intense, and we'll cover Schwaller's works. Because fundamentally, it's a journey. Everything's a journey if you're into discovery, self-discovery, and trying to understand what this is all about, actually going through thousands of years of writing and thought and reflection. That it isn't all just happening now. It's not like the trendiest thing going on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. People have been thinking about these ideas, about the nature of humanity, its relationship with the divine, how it all emanates for thousands of years. And we're not that different from them. People like to say, oh, no, no, those people are totally different. No, that was thousands of years ago. No, vanity, vanity, everything's vanity, and there's nothing new under the sun. Koheleth, Ecclesiastes. That was said thousands of years ago, and it hasn't changed. If you've enjoyed this, or if this is the first time you've tuned in, I'll try to shave next time. Um, Follow along, see where it goes, and realize that this is just a moment of human history that may go back tens of thousands of years. That's now what we're learning about with the discovery of Göbekli Tepe and the other ancient sites from people who are much more informed than me, like a Graham Hancock. But all this is becoming very real, very known. So where does it go? Where are we going? And where will we end up?